So, welcome everybody, and thank you for being here. I'd like to start off by welcoming back all the volunteers who helped monitor the nest last year. You guys were rock stars. And you really made this program possible, and we just couldn't have done it without you. And I also like to welcome anyone that's new this year or anyone who's just checking out the training and thinking about volunteering, and hopefully I convince you at the end too. Um, and like I said, I'm just going to go everything that you will need this season and run through all the online forms. If you haven't met me before, I'm Libby Buck. I work at the Linda Loring Nature Foundation. I'm the Conservation Science and Land Steward here, and I focus on the conservation science and community bird-based research. I really love community science, so this project it just hits that. And also, if you haven't checked out Linda Loring Nature Foundation, we run a variety of community science projects like this one. And then also we do other science and education programs throughout the year. And we just always have something going on. So be sure to check out all that stuff too. And so I am happy to answer any questions. You can throw them in the chat as we go. Saoirse is monitoring that, and if it's a quick answer, she'll just answer it right away. If not, we'll hold it to the end. And yeah, and so here we go. So before I just wanted to take a quick moment to highlight what we did last year. There it goes. So last year was a truly amazing year for those who are new. We just started this program. So we had I don't know, my expectations were like you blew it out of the water. We found 50 nest sites for the island. 40 of them were active, and we fledged 40 chicks. So that is pretty great. And we thought, I really thought we were only going to find a few active nests and then maybe find the past ones or something, but nope, we found them all. Not to say that there won't be new ones this year, but we have a good baseline now, which is awesome. And I'm not going to go too crazy deep into the results tonight because this is just a training focus on what to expect this season. But if you are interested, we did put together an annual report and you can review it on our website. Everything that I will be talking about tonight is at the Linda Loring llnf.org website, and it's the Osprey Watch program. And if you are, oh, sorry, I'll also be giving a Zoom Science Pub talk on March 30th. And I'm going to go into more detail of this past year and also the history of the ospreys on Nantucket. So that's another thing to sign up for if you want to just learn more. But tonight we're just going to focus on how you guys can help monitor the nests. So now that we looked at what we accomplished last year, let's talk about what the participation looks like for the season. The time commitment is actually pretty small. We're asking for volunteers to spend about 15 minutes per week checking their assigned nests. So it's only once per week. You can totally check more than that, but we just ask at least once per week for at least 15 minutes. The most active months are April through July. They're the most important months biologically because that's when the eggs hatch and the chicks are there. It's just when all the drama happens, and it's the complete story of the ospreys. So those are the most important. If you are in any way concerned about that you won't be here the entire summer, that's perfectly okay. We work it in that if you just let me know ahead of time that you won't be able to cover that week, we can send out the staff and we can check it for you, and it's no big deal. So then after you check your nest, you'll submit your observations through our online nest check form, which I'll show you all later after I go through all this. We're asking this year for photos with your nest checks. It really helped create the story that when we built the annual report. And if anything, if anything for photos, you want to aim for the milestones that you see. So like the first arrival of the osprey showing up, the nest hatch, the chick photos, just anything that would like put the story timeline together because it was just so helpful to create that for the annual report and help catalog that for us. It's really great. And you can just use your phone to take the photos and you can just upload it into the forum. It's really easy. I think people from last year would agree that it was easy. We had a couple speed bumps in the beginning, but then we worked it out. And we tried to make it as simple as we could. And also, even if there's no activity going on at the nest site, we still want to know about that. No data is still data. So, even the empty nests are just as important, and it will help like us figure out later on down the road, like why was there no activity, and maybe help their habit activity. So now that we talked about what we're asking of you, let's go over a few of the guidelines for monitoring the nest and the best way that keep the birds safe and minimize disturbance. We also have a volunteer guidebook that's available to refer back to on our website that goes through all this stuff too. But essentially, when you're approaching the nest, if the bird reacts to you, your cue is to step back. You're too close. If the birds are flushed or scared from the nest, that makes it very vulnerable for the eggs or the chicks because that's what they're doing up there is they're protecting them. And if the adults are not around, they are just very vulnerable. So maintaining your distance and just making really good judgment while you're out there checking on them. And I know you guys all care about the birds and everything, so it shouldn't be a problem, but you just have to say it. We also don't want to check if there's high winds, cold temperatures, or rain. These birds are not, as much as they do go and dive in the water, they're not waterproof. So if we were to go out and check them during rain or something, it just would not be good and the nest probably wouldn't survive. Also, if there's an extreme weather event, I'll send out, like last year, I'll send out an email leading up to it, advising not to go check, but it will be important after whatever the event is to go check the nest afterwards just to see if the birds in the nest survived. That would be a really huge help. And one of the best ways to view these nests is by using binoculars, a camera, or if you have one, a scope. If you don't have any of those, we can look into helping you out with that too. Just let me know. So now that we covered how to monitor nests responsibly, let's go over how we organize the nest assignments. So for the volunteers who'd like to monitor a specific nest, I will assign a nest to help make sure I'm sorry. I will assign nests to help make sure we have a good coverage across the island. I try to match the nest to what is convenient for you, whether it's near your home, along your commute, or simply a nest you enjoy watching. Some volunteers like to adopt a specific, like just one nest and check it every week, while others prefer to go out and check many nests and do like a sweep, which is amazing too, and submit all their observations of them. Both approaches are very helpful. Um, in general, the more nest checks that we do have, the better. Sometimes something happens to a nest, like a hatch event or maybe a predator interaction, and if someone happens to be there at the right moment and we're able to capture that information, that's great. So I'm all about more checks when you can. So, and then if someone was to go out afterwards and see that the birds had deserted the nest, we wouldn't know what happened. So this like actually captures that missing piece. So I'm just more in favor of don't feel like you're bothering us or anything. More observations are just is just better. And now that we talked about how the nest assignments work, let's go over how we stay in with the communication for it. So each Friday, I will go and review the nest check submissions before the weekend. And if I do notice that an observation hasn't come through recently, I just send out a friendly reminder to go do so. If a nest is missed within 1 week or so, we will have our staff go out and check if we can. And then throughout the season, I'll be sending out emails about things like I said before, the major storms. Once they actually start incubating, I can do things like last year in a sense of estimate the hatch window, so I can figure out for the future of like when to keep your eyes out for when they start hatching, and then also after that when they decide to fledge. So that seemed to really work out well, and then everyone can all pay attention and everything. It was great. And then also just, I'm here to help. I'm here to help you have a great time as well. So if you have any questions, feel free to just email me. and I'll be happy to answer anything. So now that we talked about how the program works, let's walk through the behaviors that you'll see at the nest and the kind of things that are helpful to capture with your observations. I also tried to remember some of the behavior questions that came up last year, so hopefully I'll cover them. If not, feel free to like put it in the chat of like what I missed. But so usually the first part is early in the season, the male will arrive first and they come out and they claim their nest. And then shortly after, the female arrives and the pair will begin working on building the nest together. So usually the male will go out, grab the stick, and then bring it back. And then the female works on putting the sticks where they should go and organizing the place. Um, if you want to look deeper into how to tell the difference between male and female, the females are usually slightly larger and they also have like a dark necklace. You can kind of see it on the bird that's in the nest across her chest, while the male is usually a bit smaller and will just have like a pure white chest. Next, is the incubation time. So during the incubation, the female will spend a lot of time sitting low in the nest while keeping the eggs warm. This will look a little different from when an osprey is simply perched or resting at the nest. So that was another question I had a lot. So I tried to find the best picture to show that and see how low that the female is like down there. You can just barely see her head. She like they just like sit down there and just hold on and it's just really easy. I don't know. There's just like a pure difference between them incubating and just like sitting and resting nearby. And the the female will also stay in the position for long stretches of time too. Like she will never not really get up at all. She might stand up a little bit to shift the eggs around underneath her. And the female and the male will be bringing the fish back to the nest to feed the female, so she can continually be incubating. And then this stretch is usually about 35 to 40 days. And then when the chicks start to hatch, the activity will totally increase. The adults will be coming and bringing the food more frequently. You may see the adults off to the side, tearing bits of the fish and trying to feed the chicks. You may see the small heads popping up above the edge of the nest, especially when the adults arrive with the food. But this was another thing last year. Don't worry if you can't see the chicks right away. They build up their nest really tall on the edges. And sometimes you'll just won't be able to see their little heads right away, but as they get bigger, you will. Um, and uh, sorry, just checking to make sure I got everything. Um, yes, I did. And and then as the chicks become more visible in the nest, this stage is actually where they can nearly become the size of the adults. And this happened last year too, where people kind of got like, am I looking at an adult? Am I looking at a chick? And then this is another behavior thing where in this photo with the three of them, you can see that the adult, it has a dark chocolate brown in the back. And then the two chicks are off to the side and they kind of have like a mottled marbly look to them. Also, the chicks will stay in the nest and duck down because they are taught by their parents for when the parents leave the nest is that they're going to duck down and hide from any predator or anything. So I even experienced this last year when I was watching a nest and I thought I was looking at an adult for the whole time, but it never left. It was just a very big child. And it would just duck down, but that was about it. So I totally get why it was confusing. Um, and then eventually they'll start flapping their wings and stretching, and then they'll start ending up taking off. And they still do hang around in the nest, and they'll still try to come back and have the adults feed them. There was an adult last year actually here at Linda Loring that chick just tried every time. He just was not he did not want to go fishing for himself. He was just all about having the adult come to him. It was quite funny and he was very massive. But yeah, so and then another thing is last year we had a lot of unknowns when it came to the chick survival. So I'm just going to go over that because I might have answered a couple of our mysteries, but yeah. So we did experience some chick loss. Um, And that does happen. There is common causes. They do have like sibling competition. Sometimes it's due to on food, of limited food, or predation, or we just honestly just don't know. And so this past February, I attended the Massachusetts Nantucket Osprey Working Group, and they were saying that so on Cape Cod, they're really successful with ospreys. They have over 650 nests. And they were saying for predators, they really have great horned owls, bald eagles, and red-tailed hawks, and they will come and take the chicks once they are not yet fledged yet, but like they're medium-sized chicks. And so it got me thinking that there was a couple nests, especially in the woods, that we didn't know what happened to them. And we don't, on Nantucket, we don't have great horned owls. We do have occasional bald eagle here and there, especially this past year, but they're not here during this like nesting season. But we do have red-tailed hawks, and I don't know. So it might be a red-tailed hawk that was taking them, or other predatory hawks or falcons. But if you do happen to see a red-tailed hawk like interacting with the osprey nest, please note that in your additional comment section on your nest form. But we can't say for sure. We can't speculate unless you like saw it really happen. But you can write as much as you want in the additional comments, and we can like figure out the mystery together. Um, and I'll go over the form right after this. Yep. And so now I'm just gonna switch over. Does anybody have any questions while I switch from this to the website? Okay. None? Okay. I must have explained it really great. Okay, so what you're going to want to do is when you go to check your nest, you want to go back to our website, so llnf.org. And then under Get Involved, we have Nantucket Osprey Watch. Want to go to this page? And if you scroll down, I'm going to go over a couple things here. So we have our interactive map. And with our interactive map, you can click on the stars and see the number and the corresponding nest and the observer name, the observer date, number of adults, number of young. And then this year, we also added the past nest history if we knew about it last year. So each one of these dots is all signed up like that. When you are sending in your nest check, it's not going to be instantaneous. It takes me or Saoirse. Saoirse is basically the mastermind by creating all the stuff on the back end. But it takes one of us to hit the button to refresh. So there's a couple people that would be like, I don't see my things yet. And it was just we couldn't get to the computer quick enough. So we try to at least refresh, especially during like the middle of the season as much as we can. But just if it's just not instant. So definitely on Fridays I will go through and like refresh it. And I try to because I get excited when they come in. So I do refresh it as much as I can. But just I'm just throwing it out there. We're also trying that's a little different from last year is to add some photos. So Mitch Blake, he already sent in one of these and he had a bald eagle sitting on his nest. So we have one of the photos in here that he sent in. Um, but yeah, so this is the map with all of the numbers and everything. So you can then go to, let's do report a new nest form. So we think that we found all the nests, but we're definitely going to have new ones this year because there's people that have added poles, or with all the storms, a lot of the trees fell down. We have a lot of tree nests. So I'm just envisioning a lot of new ospreys are going to try to re-nest at different locations. So if you find a new nest that's not on our map already, you go and click on the new nest form, and this will pop up. And then you just fill out the normal stuff, your name, your email. The trick with the map, I switch it to satellite. And then if you want to, you can hit this button and make it bigger, but you can zoom in. And because a lot of these nests are not on a street. Like if you were driving in a car and you can just take it and you can just drag this and drop it. And then you can close back out of it and it should save the longitude and latitude for us. And then with the description of the location of the new nest, it would be amazing if you guys could kind of find the closest address and also the best way to view it or like how you found it. So we can go back out and check it and add it to it. And we have the different nest types. Ironically enough, on Nantucket, we really just have the platform tree and a couple of like a couple of them on houses. We don't really have the telephone poles and we don't have them on any buoys, which I find kind of odd. Um, Maybe that will change this year, who knows? And then if you could add a couple photos too of it, maybe of it up close and then of it far away, just so we can go up back out and find them. Because like I said, if it's a tree nest especially, sometimes they're really hard to re-find again. And then if you have any other additional comments or anything else, you can just put that in the drop down right there. And then you just hit submit and it goes to us. It doesn't automatically go to the map. It gets sent to me and then we review it, go find it, and then we add it to the map shortly after. So then for the existing nest sites, you go to the nest check form and you find the name of the location. So from that map, we have them all right here. So I'm just going to pick this one, the Linda Loring, the first one, and then I'm just going to fill it out. I do have it if you are into the sweeping thing of like doing a lot of nests at once, it will automatically save like your name and email and like the consistent stuff so you don't have to fill it out every single time. And then we can do today. And then we need to know the time of how long it was, and you can just physically just enter this if you wanted. Number of adults, we saw 0 today. There wasn't any young, they're not here yet. And you can hit no osprey activity. We have all these other options. We added this year the adults perched at the edge of the nest. That kept coming up in our other options. So if you hit other, you can type in your own whatever had happened. And you can also send in more observations and comments within there. I loved getting all the stories. Some people were giving us all kinds of stories of everything that they were watching, and that was pretty great. And then you can just click here to like upload. Oh, well, it's going in my computer, but you can just click there. Oh, and upload your photos. It's a lot easier through your phone. And then you just hit submit. Oh, yes, I'm assigned. You have to hit one of those. And then you have this thing, and then there's also the option of the submit another nest check, and it will just like constantly go through it. And then also some people were having issues where they submitted it and then they're like, shoot, I put in the wrong nest or I put in the wrong information. You can go back and edit your submission. It's no big deal. And if you run into that issue too, you can always email me and we can figure it out as well. And then if you haven't already, which most of you already did, if you could fill out the volunteer form, that would be great too. And it will just give us your information of, how to contact you and also your availability and which nests you prefer to watch. So that would be great too. And if you want to sign up for our science pub, it's on this website as well. But that is pretty much it. That I had to go over. Does anybody have any questions? Did I stop sharing? Oh, so I have, when do you get your assignments? Oh, I will email you individually and I will give you one. That's a great question. Yeah, no. So you can either volunteer. I'm answering the question about if you can be a standby volunteer. So you can, if you just want to just send in a few nest checks, like you just happen to be by the osprey pole and you want to send in a nest check, that's perfectly fine too. You don't have to, you can just be a standby or just do whatever you can. Any help is great help. And I understand that like people are traveling back and forth and everything, and it's we're just trying to get the best co coverage we can. But yeah, that's perfectly fine. And but yeah, with the assignments, I'll reach out to you, especially now, and I will figure out which ones that you will take over, and if you have any that you really would like to do, just let me know too. That's perfectly fine. Like I said, they should show up any day now. Last year they showed up March 18th. And so should be here soon. Couple of the other questions was we fixed it last year. Last year you could only upload one photo. And did I? I'm not sharing still, am I? No. Um, Last year we fixed if you could upload only one photo. You can upload as many as you want. And another question that came up a lot was if when does the chick officially fledge? So there's either you actually see it fly and it like leaves the nest for a while, or there's a certain date of like how many days old it was. And if you haven't actually seen it fly, but it's in that fledge date period, you can assume that it will fledge soon, and we can count it as fledged. Oh, any wages on the date of first arrival? I don't know. You guys, we can guess. That's always a good one. Does anybody have any guesses? Tomorrow? Maybe. I was hoping they were gonna show up for my birthday. It was just this past Monday, but no, not yet. March 7th. Yeah, St. Patrick's Day. That sounds good. Hmm. Well, if anybody doesn't have any more questions, it was really great. Getting a chance to talk to you all and explaining everything that's going to be happening this summer. And if you have any questions even after this or anything, feel free to just reach out. I'm happy to chat about ospreys, any birds. I'm happy to talk about anything really. But I am just so excited that everyone is so happy to be doing the Ospreys and has all this excitement. Everyone was like reaching out to me like in January of like, when are we gonna get started and everything. So I'm just happy. I'm excited that you guys are excited. So I appreciate it. You're welcome, everybody. Okay, good. Go ahead, Ellen.